For 3 years, I'd been the perfect stay-at-home husband to my powerhouse CEO wife. And honestly, I was damn good at it. It was all part of the plan. My wife's Victoria Sterling, the resident ice queen, was a woman torn. The more I leaned into my role as the sweet, sensitive, supportive husband, the more guilt she'd feel when she finally left me for her childhood sweetheart. That guilt would turn into a divorce settlement that would set me up for life. My entire future depended on these 3 years of flawless acting. Honey, can you spend my birthday with me tonight? I know you're meeting him, your long-lost love. Go ahead. I even packed a little care package for you. Besides, my real party's waiting. To my surprise, the Ice Queen didn't leave. She wanted to come with me to the bar. I glanced in the mirror, fluffing my hair just right. The soft boy-next-door look, paired with my cozy loungewear, screamed devoted husband. It was the perfect image I'd spent years crafting one guaranteed to make. Victoria feels so guilty she'd practically hand me half of everything she owned. That was my golden parachute, my ticket to freedom. The front door opened, and Victoria walked in, face calm and unreadable. Her makeup was flawless, sharp, controlled, and dangerously alluring. I quickly erased the smug grin from my face, rushing over to take her coat and slide slippers toward her feet. She stayed distant, the warmth of the house doing nothing to melt the frost in her expression. Still, I kept the act going, nuzzling her like a loyal golden retriever. As I leaned closer, I slipped the care package into her designer handbag. "Honey," I said, voice full of gentle hope, "can you spend my birthday with me tonight?" Victoria's eyes flicked up, sharp enough to cut glass. You absolute witch, I thought. "I'm your husband, asking to celebrate my birthday, and you glare at me." Inside, my thoughts were boiling, but on the outside, I was the picture of soft, patient love. Then her brow furrowed. "What was that sound?" I looked around, pretending confusion. "I don't hear anything." She must have been imagining it. Maybe the stress of work was getting to her. Maybe the excitement of seeing her old flame was making her paranoid. Her face went cold again. "I have a client dinner tonight. I'll have a cake delivered. You can celebrate here." Client dinner. Sure, anyone would believe that flimsy excuse for a rendezvous with her ex. Here it came, the turn. The pity glance. Victoria hesitated, eyes softening just slightly. I seized the moment, putting on my best mix of disappointment and quiet strength. "It's okay, honey," I said softly. "Go. I'll be fine here alone. The party supplies are in your bag. Besides, I've got my own plans. The guys are waiting. We're hitting the club. My night's going to be epic." I held the pose of the patient, selfless husband while inside I was practically bursting with joy. The thought of the upcoming divorce and the mountain of money that came with it had me dreaming of sports cars and a life of luxury, lost in my daydream. I didn't notice the faint twitch at the corner of Victoria's mouth. Still cold as ever? She just nodded and walked out the door. The moment it clicked shut, I leaped into the air. Yes. Let's get this party started. It had been 3 years since I'd woken up inside a trashy romance novel. I wasn't the hero, I was the supporting fool. The main character was Caleb Vance, and with a name like that, you just knew he was meant to win. He'd broken up with Victoria to chase an MBA at Stanford. She'd married Melio Miller the rich, naive trust fund kid who was genuinely in love with her. She used my family's wealth to build her corporate empire in just 3 years. Then she crushed my family's company in a hostile takeover, leaving me with nothing but her shadow. The original Leotha man whose life I'd taken over was obsessed with her. He debased himself, did anything to keep her. He even drugged her once and tried to have Caleb killed. In the end, she threw him out with nothing. But unlike the original Leo, my morals are, let's say, more practical. I don't love Victoria, but I do love money. According to the story, Victoria had once planned to give Leo half her assets in the divorce out of gratitude for his family's early help. But his madness ruined everything. He died, broke, alone, and forgotten. That was never going to be me. For 3 years, I've played the part perfectly. In Victoria's eyes, I'm harmless, devoted, loyal. I've even been subtly pushing her and Caleb, back together, setting the stage for their reunion so I can walk away rich and free. I showered, changed into designer jeans and a leather jacket, and ran some product through my hair for that perfectly messy look. The man in the mirror was no soft husband anymore. He was a player with danger in his eyes. Showtime. Twirling the keys to my McLaren, I headed to the garage. I slid into the driver's seat and fired up the engine. The roar matched the pounding in my chest. Freedom was so close I could taste it. Then dash click. Blinding headlights flared across the garage. My first thought was, intruder. Then I saw the car. A black Mercedes G-Wagon built like a tank. From behind the wheel stepped a pair of long, slender legs wrapped in sheer stockings. My blood ran cold. She hadn't left. "Where are you going?" Victoria asked, a smirk tugging at her lips. Her cool, assessing eyes swept over me, and for the first time, I caught something new in them. Surprise. Maybe even a trace of appreciation. I'll admit at time, a good-looking guy. A woman like Victoria would never have married me even for show if I wasn't. "Weren't you supposed to be at a client dinner?" I stammered, sinking back into my seat, trying to hide the outfit that completely ruined my carefully crafted sweet husband image. The corner of her mouth lifted into a small, genuine smile. "We've been married for 3 years, and this is the first time you've ever asked me to spend your birthday with you," she said softly. I rescheduled. My phone buzzed. It was the guys, wondering where I was. What the hell was going on? She ditched her soulmate to spend my birthday with me. This was bad. Really bad. She was going to see right through me. My head was spinning. Then I saw her reach into her handbag. Her expression shifted as she pulled out the small bottle of massage oil I'd slipped in earlier. Panic flared. "It hurts the first time," I blurted, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. "Heard this stuff helps." I squeezed my eyes shut. 3 years of effort. 3 years of playing the perfect husband gone in one stupid sentence. I had to fix this fast. Looking up at her with the most pitiful, wounded expression I could manage, I said, "You think I don't know you and Caleb have been in touch all this time? You never have client dinners at night. You were going to see him, weren't you?" Nice pivot. Put her on the defensive. Genius, Leo. Pure genius. Victoria didn't say a word. She pressed her lips together into a tight crimson line and placed her hand on my car door. "Get out." I didn't argue. I scrambled out. The moment my feet hit the ground, she pushed me back against the hood, her eyes dark and tense, filled with something I couldn't quite re-locked onto mine. "I've put you through a lot these past few years," she said quietly. "I made you into something you're not." I was speechless. Inside, my thoughts were screaming, "Oh God, she's lost it. She's completely lost it. What is she doing?" Then my heart stopped. She started unbuttoning her coat. My God, she's serious. She can't do this. If she's not pure for Caleb, he'll never take her back. Before I could react, she leaned in and crushed her lips against mine. My brain short-circuited. Everything went blank. It's not that I was some kind of saint, please. For the kind of money I was chasing, I'd already sacrificed my pride and dignity. But this twist wasn't in the plan. I was completely stunned. "Tori. Tori, are you in here?" A man's voice echoed through the garage. He stepped into view, holding a bouquet of roses. Dressed in a sharp suit with stylish wire-rimmed glasses and just enough stubble to give that rugged, intellectual look women fall for it, was Caleb. He walked in with a hopeful smile. My brain snapped back online. I shoved Victoria away and frantically straightened my clothes. "Mr. Vance, it's not what it looks like. How did you get in here?" Victoria and I spoke at the same time. I quickly added, "Nothing happened." I swear, Caleb ignored me completely. His hurt gaze locked on Victoria. "Tori," I called, but you didn't answer. "I came to find you." He gestured toward the house. "Your security system still has my Face ID saved. I just let myself in. I didn't know you'd be here. It's unbelievable." They'd broken up, and she hadn't even bothered to change the codes. I forced a meek, Friendly smile, the one my perfect husband persona would wear while my inner voice seethed with venom. But for an 8-figure settlement, I could keep smiling all night. Victoria's jaw tightened, and she shot Caleb a cold look. I'm busy. I don't have time to mess with the security system, even though she was talking to him. It sounded like she was explaining herself to me. I never thought I'd hear Victoria Sterling tell him the man she supposedly adored to leave. He's just leaving. No, don't go. This isn't how it's supposed to happen. I stood frozen as Victoria smoothed her coat, composed as ever. Honey, I said cautiously, maybe you should go after him. He looked really upset. She gave me a sideways glance. We're all adults here. So what if he's upset? He and I are ancient history. She picked up my leather jacket from the hood and draped it over my shoulders. If he gets hit by a car on his way out, that's not my problem. Whoa, that was cold. Something was definitely off here. My forced smile was starting to crack. But after 3 years of wearing this mask, it had almost become part of me. Let's go, she said suddenly. Go where? To celebrate your birthday? But since it's your birthday, we should do it right. Let's go to a club. A wave of dread hit me. A club that would blow my whole cover? If she found out I was the kind of guy who partied and drank, 3 years of work and my settlement would vanish overnight. But in our house, Victoria's word was law. She grabbed my arm, pulled me toward the G-Wagon and started the engine. So she said, turning to me with that unreadable smile, which club do you want to go to? My mind raced. How about the Vanguard? Anywhere but Lucid. If she found out my friends were throwing me a surprise party there, I was finished. I stared down at my lap, lost in thought, completely missing the knowing. Beautiful smiles spreading across Victoria's face as we drove. Her phone rang. The generic ringtone slicing through the silence. The screen showed an unknown number, but I already knew exactly who it was. Without thinking, I hit the answer button and put the call on speaker. Tori? Caleb's voice came through raw, devastated, aching. The man could pour heartbreak into a sentence. I'm so cold, he said, and I can't get an Uber. The villa was out in the suburbs. At this hour, he'd be lucky to find a stray cat, let alone a ride. Okay, what's my line here? How do I play this magnanimous, understanding soft boy? But Victoria didn't give me time to perform. She jabbed the end call button on the steering wheel and shot me a look, a perfect little eye roll that was aimed straight at me. I saw it, and it scared me. Sorry, I stammered. Thought you might want to talk to Mr. Vance. My voice sounded too loud in the car. Victoria stayed focused on the road, intense behind the wheel, just like she was in the boardroom. She had zero patience for my drama. A few minutes of tense silence passed. Then her phone rang again. Hope spiked in my chest. She couldn't resist answering right. She'd cave. She wouldn't do this to me. The G-Wagon screeched to a stop. Victoria stared at the screen a long moment before she answered. The Bluetooth was still connected, so I heard everything. Victoria, how can you be so cruel, so selfish? Caleb's voice was heavy with accusation. I went abroad for our future. I can understand you being angry with me even now that you're married. I can forgive you. Leave him, and I'll marry you tomorrow. I'll give you a lifetime of happiness. Victoria stayed silent. For 3 years I've thought about you every day, Caleb went on. I messaged you constantly, and you never replied. Your coldness is breaking my heart. Finally she spoke. Caleb, stop contacting me. I am a married woman. This is completely inappropriate. I sat frozen. She hung up and for good measure turned her phone off. I couldn't process it. No way. Was she really this ruthless? Her childhood love, the great romance of her life. And she cut him off like that? The car rolled on until she announced, "We're here." I nodded, dazed, and reached to get out, then stopped. My blood turned to ice. A pulsing neon sign lit up in front of us. Lucid. I just checked the map, she said casually. That place you mentioned was too far. This is closer. We can start here. I have other plans later. No, I began, faltering. Honey, I'm suddenly not feeling so well. I don't think I can drink. Victoria was already out, opening my door. Her eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint in them. "You can have juice," she said. "But we're already here. Don't be a killjoy." Inside, Lucid hummed with energy. Because of its secluded location, it wasn't packed. Victoria walked confidently ahead while I tried to hide in the dim. Pulsing lights, I'd forgotten one crucial thing. Lucid was my turf. "Leo, where have you been?" A figure slipped past Victoria and headed straight for us. It was Jake, my best friend, looking effortlessly cool in streetwear, his hair catching the club lights. He was younger than me, quick on his feet. "Jake, stay back," I hissed, stepping in front of Victoria like a frantic chihuahua. My wife can't stand the smell of alcohol. I sent him a frantic look. Thankfully, Jake wasn't an idiot. The way I said wife was all the clue he needed. He stopped. "Oh, so this is the impressive wife you told me about," he said, clearing his throat. "Nice to meet you." With a nervous cough, he retreated into the club. "You wait here a second," he called back. "I'll set you up in a quiet VIP room, so you won't be disturbed." Good man. If he'd let the surprise party go on, my cover would have been blown, and my golden parachute would have gone up in flames. I could count on him. He knew what I was playing at. A smirk touched Victoria's lips. She grabbed my hand and followed Jake into the main room. "No need for a private room," she said. "We came for the atmosphere." I dug my heels in, clinging to her arm. No, Jake was getting us a room. "Please, don't rip away my last shred of dignity." The main hall was decked with balloons and streamers, full party mode. Peeking over Victoria's shoulder, I saw Jake frantically tearing down a freshly hung banner. Relief washed over me. The kid works fast. We slid into an empty booth. I kept my head down so I didn't notice the disappointment flicker across Victoria's face as she kept glancing at me. "What can I get you to?" Jake asked, now wearing a waiter's vest and a cheesy grin. Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that your friend? He works here?" Yeah," I stammered. "He does. That's why I come here sometimes. Hang out." Victoria nodded slowly and ordered, "Just water for me." She turned to me in a small voice. "I'll have a Coke." "Need some sugar to calm my nerves before my blood pressure blows?" Then she surprised me. "You can have a drink if you want." "Time driving." I looked up, forcing my sweetest, most earnest smile. "You know me, honey. I'm a total lightweight." Sighed, I pictured myself falling under a table like a college kid. Jake's mouth twitched as he turned to the bar. A second later, my phone buzzed. A message popped up. "Jake, dude, you are a hell of an actor. Are you just with this woman for her money?" I rolled my eyes and tossed the phone onto the couch, trying to focus on my Coke. The truth was, the original Leo had truly loved Victoria. He had given her everything he could. But in front of her one true love, his 3 years of devotion meant nothing. Lucid wasn't exactly a wild place. It mostly catered to the wealthy crowd from the suburbs. I knew half the people here, but either Jake had spread the word or my hiding skills were exceptional because no one came near me. The quiet was starting to make me sleepy. But the moment I lifted my head, any trace of drowsiness disappeared. Walking through the entrance was a group of 4 or 5 people, all gathered around a man with rugged stubble and effortless charm. "Caleb, what the hell was that creep doing here?" I thought he was freezing to death on some street corner. I jumped to my feet, trying to block Victoria's view. Honey, in my rush, I lost balance and stumbled right into her. She didn't even flinch, just lifted her hands to steady me. But despite my soft boy looks, I actually hit the gym pretty regularly. You've got to stay in shape if you plan to spend a fortune, after all. There was real muscle under my lean frame, and I was too heavy for her. She fell back onto the sofa, and I landed on top of her. "Sorry." She shook her head, brushing it off, not even pushing me away. Still, my heart was pounding hard in my chest. "Honey, maybe we should just go home," I said. Victoria gently eased me off her, silky hair slightly messy around her face. For a moment, she looked almost fragile. "Why can't trust between people just be simple?" she murmured. The question threw me completely off guard. I had no idea how to respond. Seeing my silence, She stood with a resigned expression, then looped her arm through mine and began walking us toward the exit. And that's when I saw Caleb, the Stanford MBA himself, right at home on the dance floor, surrounded by 3 gorgeous women. As the beat dropped, he stripped off his jacket, revealing a sculpted body that earned loud cheers from the crowd. I couldn't help glancing at the stage. What a show-off. His moves were so exaggerated he looked like he was about to take off. I still didn't understand what Victoria had ever seen in someone like him. Zero class. Suddenly Victoria stopped. I looked at her, confused. Without a word, she tightened her grip on my arm and marched straight toward the dance floor. "Tori?" Caleb froze mid-spin, panic flashing across his face. "Tori, don't get the wrong idea. My friends brought me here to blow off steam after you rejected me." Then his eyes found me, and panic turned to rage. "It was you," he spat. "Tori never comes to places like this. You must have forced her. Why are you so desperate to ruin what she and I have?" A fire flared in my chest. This guy? After all the time I'd spent helping him, silently suffering while trying to keep their mess under control. And now he was blaming me? Before I could say a word, Victoria grabbed a drink from a nearby table and threw it straight into Caleb's face. "You've got a lot of nerve." "Caleb," she said coldly. "Leo's my husband. My legally wedded husband." She stepped closer, her tone dropping to a dangerous whisper. "The real question is, who the hell do you think you are, trying to interfere in our marriage?" I was stunned. None of this was in the script. Caleb's friends immediately stepped forward. "Come on, Tori. We all went to school together. You don't have to be like that." "Yeah, he's been in love with you all these years. This gold-digging creep's just trying to drive a wedge between you two. Teach him a lesson." In seconds, Caleb's group surrounded me, their faces hard and threatening. On stage, Caleb watched with a smug grin, but they'd all forgotten one thing: this was my turf. "What do you think you're doing?" A voice boomed across the club. People turned. Within moments, half the place had gathered around us like a wall. I instinctively pushed Victoria behind me. "Don't worry, baby. I got you." Jake was at the front, right in Caleb's friends' faces. "You heard me. You think yelling makes you right? You have any idea whose turf you're standing on? You want to start something here? I promise you will leave on a stretcher." Outnumbered and outmatched, Caleb's crew backed down, muttering weak apologies. But one guy, desperate to save face, glared at me. "You just wait, kid. We'll get you when you leave." Jake, already walking away, just laughed and turned back. "Looks like these gentlemen still don't understand whose house this is." He grinned. "Tell them why we're all here tonight." A huge cheer erupted, drowning out the music. "For Leo's birthday." These guys were actually loyal, more loyal than Victoria had ever been. She hadn't thrown me a single decent birthday celebration in 3 years. Victoria glanced at me, then raised her voice so everyone could hear. "Thank you all for celebrating my husband's birthday. All drinks tonight are on me. Enjoy yourselves." "Thanks, Tori." The crowd shouted back, but I could tell this wasn't her kind of place. After settling the tab, she took my arm and led me toward the exit. "Victoria." Caleb's voice cut through the noise from the stage. "Do you have any idea what my life has been like these last 3 years without you?" Victoria stopped and turned, her face unreadable. "Caleb," she said, calm and steady, "I came here tonight to celebrate my husband's birthday. But since you're here, let's end this once and for all. We ended the day you gave me that ultimatum: come with you to California, or it's over." Well, it was over. I have a family now. I'm not interested in reminiscing. She stepped closer, her voice sharper. "I suggest you stop trying to destroy my marriage." Caleb's eyes burned. "You're so heartless, Victoria. I reached out constantly and you never replied. Some nights, the only thing that kept me going was thinking of you." Victoria paused, then gave a bitter little laugh. "Did you really think I only had one Instagram account? Just because you blocked me doesn't mean I couldn't see what you were up to, Mr. Vance. I had my ways of keeping tabs." Hearing that, I froze. If I remembered the story correctly, the original Leo, knowing how dangerous true love could be, had gone to extreme lengths to keep them apart. He'd even used his connections to stop Caleb from returning to the country. But I hadn't done any of that. I just wanted a quiet, comfortable life and played my part as the perfect, oblivious husband. Victoria wasn't stupid. Of course, she wouldn't just assume her old flame had been pining away overseas. She'd found her own way to uncover the truth. "You know what I hate most?" she said, her eyes locked on Caleb. "I hate liars." "Oh, I'm a liar." "You've been living one big lie," Caleb shot back. A hollow ache filled my chest. The next thing I knew, we were already back in the car. "Just don't lie to me, okay?" Victoria's voice was heavy with exhaustion. "If there's something you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. But I can't stand being lied to." I didn't say anything. Guilt washed over me. It wasn't exactly a lie, it was an act. I just never thought we'd make it this far. Thinking back, Victoria had been good to me. The mansion, the fleet of supercars, the black card with no limit, she'd given me everything. She never tried to control me. But from the very beginning, because I knew the story, I was convinced she would eventually leave me for Caleb. If I hadn't read that novel, if I hadn't believed she was just using me, could I have kept up this act for 3 years? No, absolutely not. And after seeing her completely demolish Caleb at the bar, the guilt in my chest felt heavier than ever. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I won't lie to you again." The mood shifted. A sly grin touched her lips. "So, my husband's quite the big shot at the club, huh? Tell me, have you been picking up girls there?" The sudden change in topic caught me off guard. No, absolutely not. I was just bored at home, so sometimes I'd go to Lucid for a drink. I met all those guys there. They call me McCord Platha, undisputed king of Lucid. Before I woke up in this world, I had been a DJ. I knew how to work a crowd, and that's how I made friends so quickly. "Oh, really? It's just for a drink?" she asked, reminding me of my earlier promise. I sighed and told her everything, my whole secret life at the club. Victoria stayed quiet for a long time, then finally gave a small, sad smile. "It seems you prefer a life of freedom. I've been holding you back. That's not true." I turned to look out the window as the city lights painted golden streaks across the dark glass. "I don't really have any big ambitions," I admitted. "I'm not chasing any grand goals. Call it lazy, call it unmotivated, whatever. My old life was so monotonous that it wore down every sharp edge I had. Now, I just want peace." Thought about it. If we got divorced, I'd probably buy a small house by the coast and live quietly for the rest of my days. Honestly, that didn't sound too bad. Then dash screech. The car lurched to a violent stop. Startled, I looked up and met Victoria's gaze. Her eyes were bright and intense like moonlight. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing," she said tightly. We didn't go home. Instead, she drove us to a scenic overlook just outside the city. She didn't say where we were going, and I didn't ask. From the top, the entire skyline stretched before us, purple, red, and blue lights glowing against the dark. It was breathtaking. Victoria pulled out her phone and made a call. "Start it," she said. "Start what?" My heart skipped a beat. Oh God, was this it? Was she going to murder me and bury me out here? No. Stop it. My wife wouldn't do that. I tried to calm myself, but my eyes darted around nervously. "Look," she said softly, slipping her cool hand into my coat pocket, her fingers intertwining with mine. I looked up. Whoosh boom. Bursts of dazzling color exploded across the night sky, raining down like a shower of stars, fireworks. The entire world lit up, painting her face in red and gold. The sight stirred something deep inside me, something I thought had long been buried. Every man, no matter how cynical, has a weakness for romancing. This was romantic as hell at some point. Victoria leaned against me, her head resting gently on my shoulder. I wrapped my arms around her. "Do you like your birthday present?" She whispered. This is for me?" "Of course. I was going to come out here and set it up myself, but you seemed upset earlier." My heart sank as I remembered how I'd assumed her client dinner that night was a secret date with Caleb. I'd been so sure. And all that time, She was planning this for me. This cold, untouchable woman had just pulled off something genuinely romantic. No one had ever done anything like this for me. In our 3 years of marriage, Victoria had never been neglectful. There were always gifts on birthdays and holidays, but they were impersonal bank transfers, luxury deliveries. Never anything like this. Never something with real thought, with heart. I pulled her closer, burying my face in her hair. Thank you, honey. After that night, everything changed. Victoria started coming home every evening. I became the man behind the powerhouse, keeping the house spotless, dinner ready when she walked through the door. I hardly ever went to Lucid anymore. Jake complained that business was down since their star attraction had disappeared. Then one day, the internet exploded and I was right in the center of it. Bro, get off your ass and get online. Jake's frantic voice shouted through the phone. You're blowing up. An article had gone viral. The king of gold diggers, how a kept man schemed his way into a tech fortune. Someone had taken photos of me from my nights at the club and turned them into a damning collage. On their own, they wouldn't have gone viral, but the story identified me as the husband of Victoria Sterling, CEO of Sterling Holdings. Some troll had even written an entire fan-fiction-style backstory about me, a two-faced schemer who played the soft, innocent boy toy at home while secretly living a wild, decadent life. All part of a master plan to kick out Victoria's one true love and steal her company. This is a total smear campaign. I shouted. Someone's paying for this. Jake and the guys tried to defend me online, but it was useless. Whoever was behind it had an army of bots and trolls flooding the feeds. The more we tried to explain, the worse it got. By afternoon, Victoria Sterling herself was front and center. She released an official statement and pushed it to the top of every news feed. My marriage to Leo Miller is a private matter, but one that is legal and legitimate. I will not tolerate slander against my husband. Sterling Holdings will pursue legal action against any and all individuals or outlets spreading these malicious rumors to the fullest extent of the law. At the same time, Sterling Holdings' legal team released a stack of documents proof. It laid out the entire timeline of Victoria's relationship with Caleb Vance. Then came the date and the official record of her marriage to me. But the knockout punch was the document that revealed where Sterling Holdings really began Miller Properties. That's right. Victoria had started from nothing. The seed money for her entire empire had come from my family's business, which she had turned from a struggling real estate firm into the powerhouse it was today in an instant. The whole gold-digging pretty boy story fell apart. I was already a major shareholder in the company, and our assets were legally shared. The entire narrative was a lie. Victoria was furious. She didn't just go after the online trolls. She went straight for the source. Her lawyers buried Caleb Vance in lawsuits, effectively ending the whole sordid mess. She came home late that night, well after 10. The faint smell of whiskey lingered on her breath. I didn't say anything, just smiled, took her coat, and handed her a pair of slippers. It was our quiet ritual, a small comfort between us. You've been drinking? I said, not accusing, just stating the obvious. I knew she never drank with clients, but I didn't ask why. Sit down, she said softly. We need to talk. Her eyes were hazy, tinged with a kind of vulnerability that made my heart ache. She looked so beautiful. How was I supposed to talk about divorce with her now? She let out a long, weary sigh, as if exhaling the weight of the world. Let's get a divorce, she said flatly. You can have the house, and the car stake, whichever ones you want. We'll split the company shares 50-50. The annual dividends alone are more than enough for the rest of your life. She slumped back into the sofa, completely drained. She felt like a failure, marrying me on a whim, a rebound from Caleb's betrayal, thinking she'd never love again. But over 3 years, my quiet presence had become part of her life, a foundation she didn't realize she needed until now. When she believed she had broken it beyond repair, I looked at her, the usual evasiveness gone, replaced by a firmness I barely recognized in myself. So it is about Caleb. You can't forget him, I said. My voice came out sharper than I meant. Then why? Why did you do what you did at the club, Caleb? She shot back, a flicker of irritation in her eyes. Why does it always have to be about him? Haven't you figured it out yet? I don't have any feelings for him. She pushed herself up, meeting my gaze with the last of her strength. The coldness in her eyes was gone, replaced by something raw and desperate. Leo, she whispered, her voice trembling. After all this, don't you know who I love? It's me. Those two words hit me like a blow. All this time, I had been so sure she would leave me. I'd never dared to believe she might actually love me back. But now, for the first time, I saw the real Victorian at the untouchable CEO. But a woman who just wanted to be loved? I stood and pulled her into my arms, holding her close as shame and regret flooded through me. I'm sorry, I whispered into her hair. Let's not get a divorce, okay? Let's never talk about being apart again. Victoria tilted her head back, looking up at me. Her icy mask was gone, replaced by a warmth that took my breath away. We kissed a deep, searching kiss that erased 3 years of distance and lies. When we finally pulled apart,